I'm not going to go into the really advanced stuff. It can get really, really sophisticated. And oh, also another thing too, just an expectation whenever you guys actually dig into this for yourself. Just know that SEO is a long-term game. If you start doing this stuff, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen a month or 2 months, 3 months from now. This is a year, or it could be 6 months. It could be 6 months for some of you. It just depends. It depends on competition, how many competitors you have. It depends on how well you're doing. So, like SEO is a chess game. It's straight up a chess game. I mean, think about it. Whenever you guys, like, the ultimate goal for SEO is to rank on the first page, right? How many spots are there on the first page? Like 10-ish, right? You can't have any more than that for a specific key phrase. Like, you only have those slots. And it's not like, so let's just, for context, like social media, right? Social media, you can go viral with it. You can get a lot of engagement. Your competitors can also do that too at the same time, right? It can all happen exponentially. SEO is not that way. It is either you won or you lost. It is you got the spot on the first page or you didn't. So I just want you to keep in mind that it's a chess game. It's whether or not you're playing the game better than your competitors. If you do the things here that I'm going to show you, you will win. It's just a matter of when. And this is with the assumption you guys are putting the focus and attention into it that you need to. But you will win. It's just a matter of when. It could happen 6 months from now. It could happen 3 years from now, assuming that you're consistent. So keep that in mind. This is a broad overview of what I'm going to talk about. I want to go over some free or inexpensive tools that you can use for yourselves. There are basically just some 3 main sections of SEO. There's the initial SEO setup. There's the ongoing, and then there is some like authority and trust. Okay, so I'm going to go over those in detail. And then I have some kind of bonuses at the end too. So, which by the way, since we have a smaller group, this is a little bit intimate setting. So, if you have a question in the middle of this, just raise your hand and let me know. We'll just go ahead and address it. Cool? Cool. All right. So the first thing you have to do with search optimization is you got to know where you're starting from. There's no point in getting started until you know where you currently are. And so these are a couple of tools that I suggest. I have it pulled up here. So there's this neiltail.com. Does anybody want to volunteer their website? Yes, let's do it. What is it?
www.oxyfresh.com.
Oxyfresh?
Yeah.
That's it?
Why? OXI. No, OXI. Sorry. No, OXI. Sorry. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at your shirt there. This is it right here, right?
Yeah. And then you'll have to minimize it.
Okay, so this could take some, like it says, up to 3 minutes, but so kind of on this there are tons of other tools that you can use. These are just 2 that I like with the SEMrush. SEMrush has a premium service that you can pay for, but if you just Google SEMrush site audit, then the reason I'm not pulling it up is because you have to sign up for it, like you have to put in your email address and stuff for it. But that's a good tool too. But you have to know where you're starting from, right? So you have to know, okay, where do I currently rank for certain keywords and phrases? Because that will tell you, I mean, think about it. If you currently rank number 1 for something versus something you don't rank at all, you're gonna have to put more effort into the one that you don't rank at all, right? You do have to put some effort into the thing you rank number 1. And here's a key tip. Just because you rank really high for a key phrase, that doesn't mean that you don't need to do any more work on it. You need to be able to keep that spot. Because if you stop, let's just say you are running a race on a track, right? And you are 3/4 of the way into the race, and you are number 1. You're way ahead of the game versus your competitors. And you say, "Oh, I'm good. I got this one." And you just either stop or you start walking. Yeah, you're going to lose the race. So that means like you have to continue doing work on that key phrase in order to keep your spot. That makes sense?
If that overlays most content on your site,
What was that?
so they just have a place on your site where you don't have a lot of things to update with. You know, your competitor, maybe they have a blog or something like that.
Yeah, you'll eventually lose if you're not already losing. Yeah, and I'll go over that in a second. It's ongoing. That's like a lot of people think. Like if you guys are looking at hiring an SEO person, there are two different types. There are ones that do the initial and the ongoing, where they charge you every single month. And this is a very misconception. Is why do I need to keep paying an SEO person every single month when it's pretty much done on the front end? Well, that's because they're only doing the initial SEO. That's it. That's just step one of it. The ongoing is I would say more important than the initial SEO. That'll make a lot more sense here in a second. But that's the reason why. If you ever come across someone that says, I'll charge you $3,000 for the initial SEO setup, and there's no, and they claim that that's all you need to do, I would walk away. Because, yeah, they might, and that's not to say that they won't do good work. There's a lot of people that will do good work on the initial SEO, but that's half the battle. And then you might rank after that. But the problem is again, it's the race. If you stop, you'll lose. And so that's why ongoing SEO is important. So let's see. Okay, so I'm not going to go over this in super detail, but I just wanted to show you this. Oh, look at that. You got 85. Great score. So when you see on-page SEO, that's almost similar. It's the same thing as like on the initial SEO. So what this is cool is it shows your overall score. It does go ahead and give you what your traffic is, your organic keywords, and backlinks. Do you do a ton of marketing?
It's a franchise, so they
Okay.
do some marketing, but then you can go down on my page specifically.
Gotcha.
And yes, I've been paying someone to do it, that's why I'm sitting here.
Okay, I was going to say this is a ton of traffic.
So that's probably for the nation.
Okay, so this is a ton of traffic. That is a lot of backlinks, and I'm going to go into what that means in a second. But what's really cool is it tells you, hey, you have some issues. Here's some critical errors. Here's some warnings that you need to be aware of, and some things that. So these warnings are things that you need to be aware of that you need to fix, but it may not be super critical. You have to do right now. And so this right here is really important too. Load time. So this is how fast your pages load on both desktop and mobile. I will tell you this is a very, very, very important thing when it comes to SEO. Because, so Google, and there are other search engines out there, but let's just face it, Google dominates the market. Google ranks usability really, really high when it comes to ranking your site. So what I mean by that is how easy is it for a user to navigate through your site, and how easy is it for users to find what it is that they're looking for in like 2 seconds, right? And also as a part of that is page load speed. If it takes 6 seconds to load on a mobile device or even desktop, I would say if you can get it, 2.5 seconds or faster, that would be good. But think about it as you, as a user. If something takes a half a second longer than what you expected, man, you get really pissed off, right? At least I do. If I'm using Wi-Fi somewhere and it's like, why is this page taking half a second longer than what it usually does? I'm like, what the hell is going on in this world, right? And so it's the same thing, like this right here. If your site takes forever to load, users get really mad, and especially if it's 6 seconds. Now, granted, their website gets a ton of traffic. That might not be that bad, but it can definitely use some improvement. However, if the load time is really long, users they bounce. They go and they just go look for somebody else, right? And that somebody else you don't want that somebody else to be your competitor. And so that makes a big deal. And so when Google sees that, they say, okay, your site is not very user friendly, and so because of that, we're going to drop your rankings lower. So that's one part of the equation. There are several pieces of the equation to ranking high, so that's just one part.
So how important is loading time on mobile? Because, okay, so I mean, if I optimize my photos and stuff like that, I'm still at 6 seconds, what else can I really do to
There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. That I can't answer that specifically without looking.
Yeah, right.
But there's certain things like whether you have things. So there's a lot of technical things that you might have to hire an SEO person to do. So there's things called lazy load or there's like compression. There's certain scripts that you shouldn't be using that you are. There's just so many things, technically speaking. So I would run. So you have optimized all your images?
Yeah,
You
compress
compress
everything,
them
I
all?
like size them right and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to, you can shoot me an email,
Sure.
and I can take a look at it.
Yeah.
But just for sake of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's more of a technical thing. But I'm glad you brought that up because the most common thing is like whenever you upload. Has anybody here build their own website? Okay, so one of the most common things on why load speed would be really high is because the images that you upload into your website, they're usually, what I see is they're the original size, and it might be megabytes large. And just a key tip: if you can compress your images to 100 KB or smaller, that is ideal. You're gonna lose a little bit of quality, but honestly, like to the naked eye, to a regular user, there's not that much of a difference whenever it's on a website. Also, the load speed versus the quality loss is greater. You get greater improvement on load speed versus the loss of quality. So 100 KB or smaller, you can do that on your images. For those of you that do your website, you might use WordPress. A good tool is WP Smush. Yeah, WP Smush. Okay, so this is that tool. Anyways, this gives you a good audit, and I can do a whole workshop on this, but I'm not. I just wanted to show you guys this. So. Okay, I'll show you some other tools throughout the rest of this, but those are just the initial ones. Oh, here's some more. Google Search Console. Is anybody familiar with this? Okay, this is a super important tool that's free to use. It boggles my mind that hardly anybody uses it or even knows about it. If you just Google Search Console, sign up for it, and so what it is, if you go through the process of like installing it, signing up, setting up your account with your website, as you collect data and website traffic, it will tell you what the actual search terms are on how people found your website. There's a difference between, so like I have the Google Keyword Planner here. So Google Keyword Planner, just FYI, you have to sign up for an AdWords account to do that, to get access to that, but you don't have to run ads. So sign up for the account. You might have to put your credit card in there just to get access to the Keyword Planner, which is fine, just do it. Even if you're not gonna run ads, just don't run ads and your card won't be charged. But you can have access to Keyword Planner. But the Keyword Planner, what it does is it allows you to do research on what people are searching in this area or whatever area that you're trying to do research But that's a pretty, it can be pretty broad. It's not tailored to your specific website. And so that's like forecasting into the future, basically, on what you think people will search to find your personal website. The Google Search Console is looking into the past. This is what people actually typed out to find your website. That is a very, very important thing. Okay. These are all free tools. Google Analytics. Does anybody not have Google Analytics on your site?
Yes.
It's okay. Okay. If you don't, if you're afraid to raise your hand, don't do that today. That's a free tool as well. I think I have. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. This is a fairly new website that I installed on. But it gives you, basically, it tells you what your website traffic is doing. So this is the last 28 days of this website. So I got 296 people, 345 sessions, so basically how many times they actually visited the site. Okay, so I do want to talk about bounce rate here and session duration. There's a lot of things you can go, I can do a whole workshop on website traffic analytics, okay, but I'm going to talk about these two things. These two things are a very good indication on how high quality your traffic is. So bounce rate, what that means is if a website visitor visits your website and they bounce. It's pretty self-explanatory, but more specifically what that means is they did not visit a second page on your website. So whatever page they landed on, they did not click anywhere else, they just basically clicked off the page. So that's not what you want at all. So 69% actually, it looks terrible. It's not a good score. What you want that at is 50% or lower. So 50% sounds really high, but I'll just tell you, just for in the grand scheme of things, of looking at tons of websites, 50% or lower is where you want to be. So if you can get it down lower, even lower than that, that's like if you can get it down to 20, 30%, that would be amazing. But the fact that you get it under 50%, that's pretty good. Session duration, that is the average amount of time each user spends on your website. The higher, the better. The benchmark there that I would say is 2 minutes or longer. So if you can get to 2 minutes, then you're doing well. Things that will help with this. I would say a couple of things, and I'll go into blogs in a second, but blogs help people keep on your site longer, and videos. If you can embed videos on your website, then that will help with longer duration.
Is that one of the factors that Google measures in order to define the race?
Yeah, because one of the things that Google, how they rank your website is how high quality is it.
Right.
And so if people are staying on the site longer,
It must be good.
it must be good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so those are a couple of free tools. I want to share some other ones in a second. Okay, so going back to before you get started on work, you have to know where you're starting, right? So the first thing I would do is you do the SEO audit. These tools that I just showed you here, okay? And then, which by the way, if you guys want any of these slides, you can send us an email, then you can so the next thing you need to do is keyword research. This right here it's very, very important because it's like you saying like, hey, I want to get in the car and drive, and I want to get to San Francisco, which I'm going to do next week until and so it's like I'm going to drive to San Francisco, but I have no route. Right, so I'm just going to take off and go without a compass, without a roadmap, without a GPS. How difficult would that be to get to San Francisco, you think? It would be, I mean, you can get there eventually. I mean, let's just say you head east. You're going to hit the East Coast, and you're going to be like, oh, crap, this is the wrong ocean. I guess I need to go the other way. Or if you hit north, crap, here's Canada, that's not right. Or if you go south, here's Mexico, no, I hit the damn wall. And then, and then you only got one other way to go is west, and you'll eventually get there, but how difficult is that, right? It's the same thing. You just need to know where you're going and what keywords to rank for. So it's super important to rank to know what keywords that you want to rank for. And so I want to show you this one. So when I say Google suggests, is anybody want to? Do we have another volunteer for the business? Okay.
TidyNest.net.
What is your business?
TidyNest.net.
What kind of business?
It's a home organizing,
Home organizing.
online consultant.
Okay, so so you can see here, this is what I mean by Google suggests. It automatically gives you suggestions on what to type in, right? There's a reason. It's because those are very, very popular. So this will give you an idea. If you just start typing, it will give you ideas of key phrases that Google thinks that you should try to be ranking for. And I'm not going to say this is perfect, but that's a really, really good indication right there. So that is one tool. Another one that I like is this one. And so this is the keywordtool.io. So if I do home organization logo. So it will actually give you that will work. So let me say heat and air, because that will be. Okay, so if I'm in the heating and air business, and I go through here, make sure you guys can see this. This actually gives you you have to sign up to get full access to this. But it will tell you like some suggested keywords that you can try to rank for. Okay? So you can see like, let's just say I am Jay's Heating and Air. You can see Middleton is, and this is a debatable tactic or strategy, but you can see Middleton Heating and Air ranks really high. So I could try to rank for Middleton. I would not suggest it, but I have seen people do that. But,
Like they would say, we can beat Middleton or something, use their word in there
what
somehow.
they usually do it more in ads. So they'll say, they'll run an ad that says, it'll say like Jay's Heating and Air, but the key word that they're paying for to pop up for is when people search Middleton Heating and Air. So if I search Middleton Heating and Air, well, let's just see if this actually works. Let's see if someone actually did it. Yeah, right there. Whoever Northside is, I have no affiliation with any of these people. Whoever Northside is, they paid to be ranked at the top when someone searches Middleton Heating and Air, Little Rock. Yeah. So I would say people do it mostly for AdWords, not so much organic.
So how would that same strategy apply to competitors' part numbers, for example?
For what?
Part numbers,
Part numbers?
SKU number, part number, model number,
What do you do?
electronics manufacturing.
I don't know. I don't know because I would have to actually do research. I don't know how many people would search for a SKU number or part number. I would imagine that they would if they're looking, if somebody is actually looking for a specific part. It works the same way though. If somebody were to do that and they have, let's just say you know the part number of another manufacturer who sells a very similar product to you. You could, it's the same thing, instead of Middleton Heating and Air, you could purchase the keyword of that part number. And then if somebody searches that part number, plus the manufacturer, you could actually rank up there. Yeah. The reason I wouldn't suggest that is because usually when people are searching for a very specific manufacturer or brand, they're pretty dead set on hiring that company. But if sticking with the heating and air example, they're not dead set on hiring Middleton. They might do a price quote on the first 5, right? But if I Google Middleton Heating and Air, there's a 90% chance I'm looking for Middleton Heating and Air. I'm not going to hire another person, right? That's not to say someone might not hire another person. If Jay's Heating and Air pops up, that's not to say that I might not call them and get a quote. But it's a tougher battle. It's a tougher battle. Why would you spend money on something it's a tougher battle?
I skipped past the ones that say ad anyway, go to the next one down.
You know what's interesting is a lot of people say that,
But they don't really.
but it obviously the ads obviously work, right? It's somebody clicks on it, but in casual conversation, when I talk to everybody I talk to says, "Oh, I skipped the ads," but the data's there. People click on it, so it's interesting. Okay, so one thing to do when you're thinking about when you're doing keyword research is to think about your service or your product. So maybe it is a part number or SKU number. Maybe it is its geographical location. Is anybody here not local to Little Rock?
Well, I mean, we could be.
You have a franchise.
Franchise is based in Denver.
Yeah, but your franchise is like you service here. So do you raise your hand?
We're national.
What is it again?
Travelers across America. We place travelers in facilities.
Okay. So one thing to keep in mind too is like you have to think about is there certain areas that you need improvement on, and so maybe you might focus on those areas. You could do like okay, where should I rank? And my location is the United States. That's pretty broad. It's pretty broad. I would say that would probably only work if you're selling a physical product, like you're an e-commerce store or something, or if you're like a national nonprofit, or if you're a nonprofit that represents the state of Arkansas. Like state of Arkansas is still pretty broad, but you have to think about your goals. So you also have to think about, okay, what is it that our organization or business, what goal do we need to achieve? And does the keyword research align with that goal, right? So if you are, let's just say you need more improvement in St. Louis, Missouri, or whatever in that area, then you need to do your research around that area. So it doesn't make sense to do research, United States broad or in another area if that's where your goal is. So just keep that in mind. Does anybody know the difference between long tail, and short tail? Okay, so I want you guys, a lot of people skip this over, and I think it's very important. So a short tail keyword is going to be things like heating and air, Little Rock. Like, to me, that's short tail. It's very few words. Long tail could be heating and air companies that are also energy efficient. I haven't done any research on that. So because there are companies here in town that focus on energy efficiency, that like to sell you 20 SEER systems, and that's a really high energy efficient HVAC unit. And so by default, heating and air companies will sell you, I would say most of them will try to sell you like the cheapest one. But there are some people that really care about the environment. So maybe a longer key phrase will be heating and air companies that sell 20 SEER systems. That's a really long tail key phrase to try to rank for. Long tail keywords will not get as many searches. The volume will be very low. your short tail will get high volume. So the default thinking is, well, these keywords have really high volume, so I'm going to focus on those. Well, the problem is you have all your competitors also focusing on those. And so let's just say you have a short tail keyword that gets 1,000 searches a month. And you're like, oh yeah, I want to focus on that because there's 1,000 people searching this keyword. And then you got another one that gets 10. Okay, because it's longer tail, it gets 10 searches. Well, let me tell you, 1,000 and this is the case a lot of times. Not every time. But the 1,000 searches you'll have like 100 competitors trying to compete for that key phrase. So it's very, very difficult to rank. But if you focus, and you can do both, and you need to do both, but let's just say you put a little bit of focus on the key phrase that gets 10 searches a month, but no competitors are trying to rank for that key phrase, you're going to rank for all 10 searches, and you might get 8 out of 10 of them, where you might get 1 out of the 1,000 volume key phrase. Which one would you rather have? 1 or 8? 8. Yeah, 8. But on the front, on the surface, the 1,000 searches looks a lot nicer than 10, but the conversions will be much higher on the 10, straight up. So do not forget about the long tail keywords. That's where a lot of people go wrong, is they'll focus on the short tail because there's a lot of volume. So don't forget about the long tail. And I was kind of redundant there on that note. So on the slide. Does anybody have any questions right now? I'll move on to the next one. All right, you guys are experts at this point. Okay, so let's get into the meat. Initial on-page SEO, this is that first step of SEO. So what I mean by that is you have your main pages of your website, right? You got your home page, you got your about page, you got your service page, you got your contact page, maybe a couple other pages, right? Those are your core pages on the website that they don't really change, they're pretty static, right? That is the initial SEO setup, is you write all the content on the page, and then you get an SEO person, or maybe you do it yourself, and you optimize those pages. Yeah, once it's done, it's pretty much done. And that's why these SEO specialists that say, I'll just charge you a one-time fee of $3,000 and you're set. You don't have to pay any more money per month. This is why, is because these are static pages that don't ever change. And it could be product pages, could be service pages, whatever. Like, they just don't change. And they shouldn't, right? Here's a misconception too, is, oh yeah, Google likes to see updated content on your pages. Well, no, that does not mean rewording your site. That does not mean rewording your about page. Google's too smart for that, and so like a lot of people think, oh, I'll just reword it. No, like Google's too smart for that, and so they'll see that you didn't really do anything but just change some words around. So that's not what that means. So that's why you have the SEO people that say, okay, I'm just going to charge you a one-time fee because this is all they're doing, straight up. For those of you that have WordPress, there's a plugin called Yoast SEO. It's free. I will tell you though. Has anybody dealt with Yoast? There's a little green dot that says it doesn't necessarily mean you did well. It all goes back to this. Right? So I've seen it a lot where clients will hire us, and they do have Yoast SEO. They've done the work, and they say, yeah, I've done pretty good on my SEO. I got all the green dots. Just so you guys know, for those of you that have done it, so Yoast does a little grading school. They do it based off traffic lights. So you have red, yellow, and green. So red is obviously, okay, you didn't do shit with this page. Yellow is, okay, you've done a little bit of work, but you need improvement. Green means you're thumbs up, right? But where I've seen a lot too is like clients will hire us for SEO because they've done the work on their site. They have all the little green dots, and they said, man, I don't understand why I'm not ranking. I got all these green dots. Well, it's because Yoast is just a tool. you're ranking for the wrong keywords. I have straight up seen it where they have, because the way you set it up is you have to put in a keyword in the settings on each page, and that's what it bases their grading off of. And so I've seen it where their key phrase is literally Little Rock. Little Rock what? Like, what do you do? Right? People don't search Little Rock, right? In the Google search bar. Is it Little Rock Heating and Air? Is it Little Rock Organization? Is it Little Rock whatever? Little Rock Churches? Like, what is it? And so like they'll use very, very broad keyword terms, and then they got all green on those pages, so they're doing good at all. It's because they didn't do the initial keyword research that they're supposed to do. So it all goes back to that. So it's just a tool. So just keep in mind, if you get all the little green dots whenever you go into this, just keep in mind that that doesn't necessarily mean you did really well. You just have to make sure that you're using the right key phrase. Okay? So you'll see a lot too. And a question I get a lot is how many times, because let me tell you, Google, the way they kind of read your page is they have all these little bots that will crawl your website, and they count how many like if you're trying to reach who has another service here? Service provider? Come on, I'm not half the room. Raise your hand. Okay, what do you do?
We teach financial literacy, so we sell financial memberships, credit, restoration programs, things of that nature.
So financial education?
Yep.
Okay, let's say a keyword is financial education. I don't know what it actually is. So let's just say it's a really good keyword term. So if a common question I get is, okay, on my services page, how many times should I mention the phrase keyword or financial education? Because that's how Google reads it. So they crawl your page, they crawl all the words, they crawl all the pictures and videos and things, and they see how many times a keyword is read on that page. And so you would think, oh, I'll just list it 1,000 times, and Google will rank it. No. Then they will see that as, okay, you are spamming the page and you're trying to game the system. So as a general rule, your key phrase should not show up more than 1 to 2% of your entire copy on the website or on a certain page. So if you have a services page and you want to rank, which you can rank for more than one key phrase on a page, but if you, in this example, if you want to rank for financial education, you should not mention that phrase more than 2% of the entire page. That makes sense?
Yep.
Otherwise, Google will see it as, okay, you're just trying to game the system. Not only will they not rank you higher, they will go like this with your website. They will penalize you for that because they don't like you. I've also seen it too, a really old method. I came across it the other day. I thought people stopped doing it, but a really old method, it's called like Black Hat. I think it's called Black Hat, where you'll see it like, let me just go to something. So you'll see it too, like used to back in the day, people will put text right here and they'll just make it white color. And then you don't see it.
Oh.
Yeah, those are really old like strategies. Well, they'll put text right here in negative white space, and then they'll just make the font color white so people don't see it. But when Google crawls it, they'll say, "Oh, okay, you have a lot of these keywords." Like, don't do that because you will go. Google is too smart for that. In case you guys weren't aware of that strategy that used to be used. It's so funny. I came across the other day and I was like, "Oh, wow, I can't believe people are still trying to do that." Okay, so title, description, and alt text. So what title means is, does anybody else want to volunteer their website? Power Technology. So if I were to go to, say, military defense, right? Okay, so this would be a really good example. So a title means is like, you see right up here in the URL bar, it says the title, for those of you that can't see it, the title for this page is called Lasers for Military Defense. Even though when I go to the drop-down menu, I click on military defense, it could have easily have been called military defense. I'm going to guess somebody did that for a purpose. I'm going to guess, I have no idea if SEO has been done on this site, but it's very interesting to me why somebody would call it lasers for military defense. That is the page title, and having that, I'm assuming, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that because somebody chose that phrase, that is a very high, or let me rephrase, very high quality keyword search term is lasers for military defense versus military defense, right? So that's what page title is. So keep in mind whenever you are writing, whenever you're doing writing your pages, whether it be your static core pages or a blog page or a blog article, you want to keep in mind of your page title. If you can have, sometimes, especially with blog articles, sometimes the title will be really long, but your key phrase is not, it's not exactly the same, right? If you can, you don't have to do this every time, but if you can have your key phrase at the very beginning, that is much better for SEO. Okay. Description. So let's just go with this. Sorry, lasers, military defense. I'm trying to see if you guys actually know. And it could also be the geographical location too. But so whenever I search, description is like these 2-3 lines that show up in Google, the Google search terms. So if you guys are using Yoast SEO, if you guys are WordPress, that is the description. This is what shows up initially whenever you are searching for Google. There is a input area where you can actually type this out. It's really good to, if lasers for military defense is your keyword, then you want that in the first sentence of your description. What other platforms are you guys using? Like Wix, Squarespace, Squarespace, Shopify. Okay, so like those tools, the drag and drop, do it yourself. They have some SEO tools. I'll just say this: I'm a big fan of those. I think they serve a very specific purpose, especially for those that don't know development. Because WordPress, I'll tell you, there's a bit of a learning curve. But Wix, Squarespace, and Shopify, they are very limited on what you can do from an SEO perspective. Even though they might have SEO features, you can only do so much. But I think you can control what description you put in there. I think. Don't quote me. But WordPress, as you guys grow, so for those of you that do have Squarespace, Wix, or Shopify, as you guys grow in revenue, I would highly suggest moving to a WordPress platform because you could do 10 times more with it. So I think those 3 platforms are really, really good starter websites. Okay? Especially for the cost. It's relatively expensive. But yeah, the description, if you can have the key phrase in there in the first sentence, that's ideal. Alt text. So for the photos, there's a thing. When Google crawls your website, it cannot tell what the photo is. It just can't, right? And they can't tell visually all visual aspects of a website. They cannot tell what it is. So there's this thing called alt text. And so there's especially in Yoast, you can, I think it's in Yoast, or it might be built into WordPress, I can't remember. There's just a field that you can input, and you can tell what the alt text is. So that is what Google crawls. So when Google crawls it and they come across a picture, they can tell there's a picture, but they can't tell what the picture is. And so if you fill out the alt text, and you say lasers for military defense, and they're like, okay, this is a picture about lasers for military defense. Okay, does that make sense? A lot of this is like can be technical, but I know some of you have come across this, so I just want to cover that. I do want to talk about video content. So one of the things that I would highly suggest doing is adding videos to your website. There are two main ways to do that. You can embed YouTube videos, or you can embed Facebook videos. Facebook videos is the less common one that you see. Google is good because YouTube is good because Google owns YouTube, so there's an advantage there. So what I have seen from the data is if you want to please Google, then you embed a YouTube video. And this could be anything. This could be customer testimonials, it could be product demonstrations, or whatever. Just make sure it's super high quality, like it's actually a good video, a good content video. It doesn't have to be super high production. And there is a way to optimize a video by itself. I'm not going to go into that, but you can research that. But embedding videos on your website, just sprinkling throughout, like if you have a services page, having a services, like something related to that service on there. If you have service A, have a video in regards to service A. If you have service B, have another separate video on service B that's specifically about that service. So I would try to embed a video on every single page. Because Google loves that. Let me tell you though, if you want conversions, so there's a difference between trying to rank high and trying to get as much traffic to your site as possible versus, hey, I want to convert the current traffic that I have. So I have seen many Facebook videos gets higher conversions. The reason is because with YouTube, if you embed a YouTube video, it doesn't show the number of views just on the website. You actually have to click on the YouTube icon on the video, and it pulls up youtube.com, and you can see the number of views. Also, it's much more difficult to get views on YouTube versus Facebook. Okay. So with Facebook, if you want higher conversions on your page, so let's just say you want to put a video on a sales page, and you have a very specific action on that sales page. You want someone to sign up for something, whether to put the email in or to buy a product or something, or schedule an appointment or some sort of call to action. I would have a Facebook video embedded on that page, and a couple reasons. One is because Facebook, it will show you the number of views on that video. And when someone, think about it, when you go to a page and you see a YouTube video and it doesn't show the number of views on there, but you see a Facebook video and it has 30,000 views, what do you think as a user?
A lot of people, it's popular.
What was it? Popular, right?
Yeah.
If they're popular, then that means, oh man, a lot of people must use them, which means they must be really good, or their product is really good, right? That is the initial thought. And it's very, very, very easy to get a high number of views on Facebook. Very easy. You put out a video, let's just say you have 100 followers on Facebook. You publish a video. If you want to put a video on your sales page, record the video, publish it on Facebook, put $100 or $200 behind it. It'll cost you about a penny per view, okay? Which is really, really cheap. And then embed that sucker on your website, and it'll show 30,000 views. Okay? There is a such thing as vanity metrics. Vanity metrics.
It's probably a vanity matrix out there too.
Yeah, right. We're all vanity metrics. And so, like, there is a thing like, okay, if you have 30,000 views, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, this person must be really, really good. Think about this too. Some of you in here have no freaking clue who I am, right? This is true, right? You guys just now seen me for the first time ever in your life or anything about Rock City Digital. But for whatever reason, because I'm standing up here teaching on this topic, you all of a sudden think I'm some sort of authority level in this topic, right?
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I could not know jack crap about SEO, right? Maybe I just did a bunch of research last night and I'm just regurgitating this stuff tonight, right? It's not true. But that could very well be the case. I see it a lot in conferences, right? So conferences, if any of you guys go to conferences, I don't know how it is in your industry, but I know very well in the marketing industry, half of those speakers do not know, they haven't done anything. For some reason, when I say they haven't done anything professionally on the topic that they are speaking on, and I know they are dirt broke because they cannot get people to sign up to do whatever it is that they're talking about, right? Like for example, I went to a social media conference and there was a dude talking on Instagram marketing, on how to market your business on Instagram. And I looked up his Instagram handle. He had 200 followers on Instagram. And I talked to him, and this is a guy I know, and I talked to him and he said, yeah, I'm broke as crap and I can't get anybody to sign up for my social media services. But he's a speaker at this conference, and the reason why he was a speaker is because he got to know the person who organized it, and they let him speak. I'm telling you right now, like I would be willing to bet in every industry, every conference, half the speakers up there, they don't know what they actually are talking about. And so it's the same thing, right? So there's a thing, it's vanity, right? It's vanity metrics. So you can actually go and pay $200, $300 towards a video, boost it, get the number of views that have embedded on the website, and I promise you your conversions will go up. Okay. Here's the second part. It's ongoing SEO. Blogs. This is a very, very, very important thing to ongoing SEO. Let me tell you this though. When you write blogs on your website, it does not need to be 200-word article of you just checking off the box that you published an article this week. And it does not need to be fluff. It needs to be something really, really, really good value, almost to the point where someone reading that article thinks, I cannot believe that this article is on here for free. That is what you need to keep in mind when you're writing these articles. You need to get them thinking, you need to start charging for this. That's what you need to get them thinking. And that's the kind of quality you need to write on your articles. If I had to tie some numbers to it, at least 1,000 words. And I would embed a video. I would have a video to go along with that blog article. So whatever that article is about, whatever topic that is, do a short 1 to 2 minute video on it. It can be just a talking head on that topic. And I would have it on there. And then call to actions. So I put CTAs. Call to actions are good. This does not have to be sign up for my services. In fact, I would almost say don't do that. It's too promotional. What I mean by call to actions, it could be it could be like, hey, if you really like this article, be the first one to see it and sign up for my email list. Or it could be, you see it sometimes too, where some people will embed like if you have a really key thing that you said in that article, it could be like, hey, tweet this out. There is a feature that you can, if you don't know how to do it, you can find a web person that knows how to do it. But like right in the middle of the article, it'll have a key sentence that is said right above in that article that says, hey, you want to tweet this? And it's literally just a click and someone can tweet it. So that's a call to action. Right? Now I already talked about writing good content. Let me show you this. BuzzSumo. Is anybody familiar with this? Did I get yet? No. So this is, it's a free thing. However, you can only do it so many times in a day. So if I wanted to, whatever topic, you just put it in there and you go. So if you want to find the most shared or influential articles that have been published on a certain topic. It will pull up that topic, what website it's on or who published it, how many shares it got, how many engagements. And that's not to say that you should go and write this exact same topic. However, you can take this like this right here, boost sales with leading digital whatever. Or right here, how to start and run a high profit social media and digital marketing agency. So I could write that if I wanted to, that exact same topic. However, what I would recommend you doing is to take that topic and just tweak it, or add something to it, or just change something a little bit to it, right? So I could say, like on this one, how to start and run a high profit social media and digital marketing agency. I could say something like, how you do it in less than 4 years, or 3 years, right? Because that's, that's kind of what Roxy is just super young, so. But yeah, I could do that, or I could say, how to start and run a high profit SEO agency. So I would say, like, and I would need to search the key phrase SEO, but this gives you a starting point of like, okay, what topics could I write about that are super popular on the internet?
What is that say?
Huh?
What does that say?
BuzzSumo.com. I don't know why I put video. Again, videos are important. That's why I put that there. Okay.
I have a question about videos.
Yeah.
Does captioning your videos help? I know it helps with like accessibility to people with screen readers. Does that help with accessibility?
Yes. So the question is, should you caption your videos? The answer is yes. You should caption every video. The reason is because we are in a society where we do this when we have to wait on anything. We do this. But there's usually people around, right? And so we don't want the sound. So we don't want to disturb people. So when people are watching videos, they want to be able to read what's on there. Your viewership will go up by like 80% if you use captions. Yeah. So yeah, I would do that. It doesn't matter if it's yeah, especially Facebook for sure. But yeah, I would use captions. Oh, a common question too is, how often should I publish a blog article? I would say weekly. Weekly. If you can do more, do more. But I mean, the fact is, we're all busy. Who has time to write an article every single day? But I would say weekly if you can. And then, okay, so here's the last part. I do want to finish up with this. Building authority and trust. This is, I would say, SEO. This is the most difficult thing you can try to achieve. So there's this thing. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, like backlinking. It's very common in SEO. That means another website has linked to your website, right? So maybe they wrote the top 10 cleaning companies in Little Rock, and they reference OxyFresh, right? And then they take that and they link it. It's hyperlinked to your website. That is a very high valuable strategy when it comes to SEO. The reason why it's very, very difficult is because it's super difficult to achieve. That you're having to get other people to link to your website. Okay? Now, are all links created equal? No. There are some websites out there that are terrible quality websites that doesn't really do you any good. And I would say there's a strategy too that some people do. I do not recommend doing it. Is some people will go and create a second, third, fourth, fifth, 12 websites, and they will put content on those websites and link to this other website that they actually want traffic to, and that's not good because it's gaming the system. Google will see that, and I don't recommend doing that. That's a lot of people call it microsites, but it's a terrible strategy, I think. So there are a couple ways that you can achieve links. One is organically. So anytime you can be a guest writer or a guest blog writer on another website, that is a very good thing to do. If you can be a guest on a podcast, that's a good thing to do. Or if somebody wants any kind of media publication, if anybody wants to feature you, say yes. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. They said, "Oh, I got asked to be on a podcast, but this person, their podcast is not that big, but they have some traffic, but it's not very big. So I'm going to say no." And I said, "Go do it, because if you're a guest podcast, a guest on 100 mediocre podcasts, that's better than 0, right? That's good." So I would highly suggest doing those. Just make sure whoever your contact is, whether you're on a podcast or if a media wants to publish you, make sure they do ask. I want you to ask. Make sure they do link back to your website in your bio. Not all of them will do that. Most of them will, but not. I would make it a point to ask that. The other way is you can buy it. So as much as does anybody here represent the BBB? Okay. As much as I like the Better Business Bureau, if you guys don't know, like people that are rated A+, all they do is pay membership fee for that. And so yeah, it's so when you see like, oh yeah, we're rated A+ BBB, they paid a membership for it. Is what they did. They bought it. And so, however, as much as I don't like that because I think it's skewed to the public, BBB ranks, like they have a really good link. They have a really good link. So that I would say if you're going to do that, that's probably your most benefit out of it, is they link back to it. The other ways to do it is your local chambers. Not all chambers are created equal, but somebody like the Little Rock Chamber is a pretty good high quality link. If you get more benefit out of the chambers if you're actually involved, but all you want for the link is the link. Be selective on who you join. And then you see advertorials all the time. Like Arkansas Business does that. You'll see it. And you'll see like a post that it features some business or whatever, but it'll say sponsored. So that's what that is. And then again, I'm going to throw out videos. Super important. It goes back to the somebody speaking and you don't know who they are, but for whatever reason they're all of a sudden instant authority on the subject of SEO. And so if you do a ton of videos and you publish them on social media and YouTube, people will see you as an authority. I promise you. So, bonuses. This is the last one. A good tool. If you want to, I'm not going to go into how you do it, but if you want to try to optimize each individual video on YouTube, good tool is TubeBuddy. It costs money. It's not that much. A couple other things too. I'm going to skip down to research. I would, again, I'm just going to reiterate the fact that SEO is a chess game. You always have to be doing research. Google they change stuff all the time. And so you have to always keep up with that. And then a couple of things too that are up and coming is social media integration. How influential you are on social media now helps you with your rankings on SEO. Okay. And then voice search. How many of you guys do this? Hey Google or Hey Siri. That is becoming more and more popular. I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like half the searches out there. So keep that in mind too. I can do a whole other workshop on voice search, but I just want you to put that in your head that is a thing. And yeah.
Is there a difference between the search words for some reason that you voice search versus typing them in? Is there going to be?
Yeah, there'll be a slight difference for sure. Because the way people talk and the way people type, it's different, right? So like an example is, I could be like, I might type heat and air companies Little Rock.
Right.
Or I might say heating and air companies near me, right? There's a difference. So, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, that's the end of this. And so yeah.
What's a good resource to keep up with the changes in the things?
Do you have, I'll put you on the spot there. Yeah, Google itself has some, I can't remember the name of the, so here's a couple of ones. There's Moz, M-O-Z. Did I talk about that? Yeah, moz.com has some good ones. SEM Rush is good. There is one called, who's the guy with the mustache? Yeah, what's that guy's name? Oh my god. I can't remember. His name is Rand Fish, I think. His name, just Google Rand Fish. Actually, I think he is with Moz. I could be wrong, but just Google Rand Fish. He's a good resource. He does a whiteboard Friday on Facebook, and so those are good videos. I would stick with those three. There's a ton of them out there. I would stick with those three.
As it relates to the Buzz Sumo, I know you said it would be a good location in order to draw content from. Would you also recommend looking at some of the popular content and converting it into a video, doing the video festival?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually. Yeah, that's a really good thing to do. Is if you're somebody like me, who I hate writing. I'm more of a video person. But if you just hate writing, what you could do is you could take one of those topics, do a video on it, and you can actually have the video transcribed too. Another good resource there is rev.com, rev.com. It costs you $1 per minute.
Yeah.
So if your video is 2 minutes long, it'll cost you $2 to have it transcribed. So you could do that. Yeah, I think it's good.
At the beginning, you said that if you do these things, you'll win, right? So what if you're trying to win against a really established company, like that has 60,000 backlinks, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Staff.
The answer is okay, maybe I should rephrase.
Just keep swimming.
You will win, but you have to put in enough time and energy and focus into it. So the problem with those companies is they paid an SEO company to do it, who has an entire team.
Right.
So if you're trying to do it yourself, that's very difficult.
So you,
right?
so assume that you could hire a team too, so that it wasn't a bandwidth problem. But you would probably want to strategically focus on areas that they weren't in.
Yes.
Right. So is there a way to find that out?
Yeah. So it all goes back to keyword research.
Okay.
So there's two ways there. Look at your long tail and short tail, because some of those people do not focus on long tail at all,
Okay.
and also your geographical locations. So sometimes if you cover a rural area, whereas a big prominent competitor might only focus on the metropolitan area, maybe you can focus on that.
Right. So you basically win on the small places.
Yeah.
And then you're bigger and you can
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's your quickest
Right.
win, I would say.
So can you use these keyword planners and those tools even if you don't have your own website, like limited for more research site?
Yep, you just gotta sign up. You gotta have a Google account. But yeah, it's all free. You can do that. You can use the tools as much as you want, even if you don't have a website. So, but obviously to execute on it, yeah, you have to have a website.
Right. Just starting off, as a business owner, just to kind of look at your competitors and see what people are searching in order to get to their website, and then use your website based on that kind of research.
Yep. I'm glad you said that. I want to close on this tip and I'll let you guys go because I think we're at time. I have seen it where clients have come to us. They've been paying a company to do SEO on their website, but their website is not launched yet. Okay, which you can do SEO on a website that's not launched yet if it's in the build process. But if it's been 12 months, no, I would be very wary of that. So in my opinion, I would go, because you can build a website that's SEO ready, but you can't do true SEO until the site's launched. So just keep that in mind. All right, thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions,